This is Vanessa Finney with another edition of My Better Half, exploring the creative potential of our later years. Today we're looking at the intersection of aging and race with Raymond A. Jetson, an AARP Purpose Prize winner and Next Avenue influencer in aging. In 2022, on his 66th birthday, Raymond made a transformational commitment. He chose to confront a system that was failing the aging Black community by having a Sankofa bird tattooed on his arm. It's a traditional symbol from Ghana with a message of carrying cultural wisdom forward to positively influence the present and future. A year later, he co-founded a movement called Aging While Black, designed to amplify the voices and experiences of Black elders. Now he's authored a new book to continue that mission. It's called Aging While Black, a radical reimagining of aging and race in America. Raymond, how does Aging While Black, the book, debunk the myth that aging in America is a race-neutral experience?
So first of all, thank you for the really important question. I will tweak my response by just a bit to say that the book is not just about the challenges, it's also about the strengths and the amazing fortitude that Black elders have demonstrated. What I argue is that aging is not just biological or personal, that there is a deeper context, that aging is shaped by the systems that you've lived in for your entire life. One of as a matter of fact, the only theory that I advance in the book from gerontology is cumulative advantage and disadvantage, which argues that both advantage and disadvantage accumulate or compound over time. And Black people have historically faced systemic and structural barriers that were intended to oppress and inhibit them, and that impacts how we show up at old age. So yes, we are all aging, but we're not all aging in the same context.
Right. And you just spoke to one of three main disparities you talk about in the book, and that is the idea of wealth transference and cumulative disadvantage. And then if you could just touch briefly on a couple of other ones, there's health disparities and access to care.
So I will share that the cumulative advantage disadvantage is a critical one because the theory espouses that this is fundamental to determining who the haves and the have-nots are in any context and in any environment, any system or set of societies. And so it's important to recognize the profound impact of the historical disadvantage that has been systemically established and societally enforced here in America. And that shows up in the issue of wealth and the wealth that is available to be transferred. If I live in a community that has been redlined, if I've not had access to capital, if the greatest opportunity for wealth that I have is my home, then the transfer of wealth looks and feels profoundly different in my lived experience than it does in anyone else's. The statistics show Black people in America are twice as likely to have dementia. They are beset by chronic diseases of all ilks. And certainly behavior contributes to that, but it's not just that. It is the lived experience of so many people. Where I live in a neighborhood where there's not access to healthy foods or opportunities to exercise. And so the disparities are profound, but if we attribute them solely to the behavior of a group of individuals, then we miss an important opportunity to understand aging in America.
Now, beyond that, establishing that, your book also offers a blueprint for a more equitable future. And one element of the blueprint came to you during sort of a personal transformation at age 66. And I'm speaking of when you got a tattoo. And that
Yes.
lead us into one of your pillars. So I wonder if you could share that story by reading a passage from that section. And Raymond, I was thinking page 16 is a nice chunk if that suits you, if you feel like that.
Yes. I'll start at the top of the page on page 16. I sat in the bustling tattoo parlor, surrounded by the hum of conversation and the pulsing beat of the soundtrack. I found myself confronting something far more profound than just the sting of the needle. The tattoo was not merely a mark on my body, it was a declaration, a commitment to practice Sankofa, not just as a concept, but as a way of life. The bird I chose, with its gaze turned backwards and an egg delicately held near its beak, symbolizes the very essence of this book. Like Sankofa, this work is about reaching back into the rich well of timeless truth held by Black elders, pulling forth lessons that can guide us into the future. The journey we embark on together will be one of reclaiming, relearning, and reimagining what it means to age and how to age in a world that often dismisses the value of those who have come before us.
So important. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to tell us how we can lean more into Sankofa, which you offer as a pillar for a more equitable future. But just for, because this is radio, can you just paint a brief picture of what that symbol looks like and where it originates?
Sankofa is a West African concept in its close to literal translation into English. It means to go back and fetch. It is to make benevolent use of the past in order to impact the present and, more importantly, the future. And so people may have seen the Sankofa bird. It is an image where the bird has its head turned backwards with an egg in its beak. Its feet are facing forward, and the bird is envisioned as flying forward. So moving into the future while making certain to bring what is valuable from the past into the present and the future.
In a practical way, in our lived experience, how does that factor in with your other ways for setting up situations for more empowered aging?
So I think that it is important that we recognize uh, this practice of Sankofa as being deeply grounded in intergenerational relationships, conversations, and wisdom transfer. Now, an important concept that is advanced in the book is reciprocal wisdom sharing, because it is not this notion of the wise sage sitting on the hill spewing wisdom down to the young whippersnapper. As much as brilliant, accomplished, experienced elders have to share, so do brilliant millennials and Gen Zers from their lived experience have to share. And so, how do we take the wisdom of elders, reframe it to modern context, and reimagine its implications for the future? Is for me what it means to lean into Sankofa. And so it is recognizing that there is valuable insights to be learned from being able to live a long life, that there are lived experiences, there are things that have happened along the way that add value. But the greatest value in them is being able to reframe them into the modern context. And so, one of the practices that I have as I share with younger folks in my life is I ask them, so what do you think that means for 2025? What does that look like today? How does that apply? Or they will ask me, so how do I apply that to the modern world that I'm living in? But then the true genius, the true value is in collectively asking, so what does this mean for our wildest imagination? How can we radically imagine a different future for people as they age in this country?
And that sort of leans into your conversation about that intergenerational mixing. You talk about the importance of embracing innovation, and the younger generations are a big source of that. So, talk about how an example of a technological innovation, say, will make the lives easier or enrich the lives of Black elders.
So leaning into Sankofa is the third pillar of aging while Black. The second is embracing innovation and rapid change. And it is grounded in the reality that we're living in an increasingly digital world. And so, how do we make certain that Black elders are competent, confident, and understand the utility? A very practical example, I am primary caregiver for my 92-year-old mother, sharing with her in ordering groceries on her iPad, being able to connect with family and friends. She is active on Facebook with her own little community of folks. I'm not sure if I'm blocked at this point or not from her profile, but so there are lived things. How can I take care of my health care, my medicine, my prescriptions? Also, how can I manage my finances? How can I run my household? And how can I build social connections all through technology?
And I caught this from one of your talks. You even imagined the scenario that self-driving cars could let older people drive for longer before their kids say, hand over the keys.
Yes, and that was, of course, before I saw the most recent news about some of the things with Waymo and some of the challenges that they were having from driving through a crime scene to having a human being in the trunk as you get ready to get in them. And so, yes, in all seriousness, I do believe that technology, like autonomous driving vehicles, offer opportunities for people to age independently and stay in their homes longer.
And your first pillar of the movement, Aging While Black, is recalibrating the village. Share that vision with.
The village is a deeply rooted concept in African culture and in Black life. And people may be familiar with the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. I think it is a village experience for us to age well together. I write in the book about my great grandparents who both died in their home in their 90s. They were able to do so because of the village, the church community they attended, the neighbors, family, the healthcare providers were all part of the village. And so in 2025 and in 2026, I believe it is critical that we recalibrate, that we re envision the village. What does it mean for congregations, for social organizations, for fraternities, sororities, to be all a part of this village that allows people to age well in their natural environments and the places that they want to be, surrounded by the people that they choose to be with.
Do you want to single out any groups or individuals that are really getting this right and that are demonstrating empowered aging or facilitating?
So, in terms of groups and organizations that are getting it, I would highlight Alter, ALTER, Dementia, which is a group that works with congregations around equipping themselves for dementia. There's also a caregiving project in Detroit being led by Dr. Marilyn French Hubbard that has engaged congregations around the caregiving issue. And between the two of them, they are probably engaging more than 150 congregations around how to support people in aging well.
Perfect. Okay, if one of our listeners wants to learn more and get resources and more ideas about these concepts around the movement and the book, Aging While Black, where can they go?
agingwhileblack.co, not com, agingwhileblack.co. The website has information about the book, but it also has information about the work that we do across this country. It allows people to connect with us And we certainly look forward to hearing from, answering questions, and inviting people into our community.
Okay, thank you for taking the time with me, Raymond. I really appreciate it.
Vanessa, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you. Be well.